Start to create a little bit of separation for the third-ranked Tar Heels.
I think it's safe to say that will be the intent.
Understatement of the day, perhaps. Score early and often.
And a miscue on the opening kickoff. Some aggressive play from Gaku Nishimura, who scored the 1 goal in their draw the last time out for Cal and gives possession to North Carolina.
And what a goal that was for Cal by Gaku Nishimura there. It was just a phenomenal to the upper left corner, a 22-yard shot. The goal of the year, some people called it for the Bears.
It was really impressive. Speaking with Cal's head coach Leonard Griffin earlier this week, he was so pumped for Nishimura's emergence into a leadership role, both with production on the field and sort of as an off-the-field leader. More aggressive play by the Golden Bears. This is not a team, Griffin, that he did not give us the indication when we spoke to him earlier this week that this is a Cal team that's going to look to draw 0-0 with North Carolina.
I think this is a Cal team that's still trying to find its way a little bit, but this is a team that wants to push the issue. You see Cal pressing here earlier on the defense, and now trying to continue to press here and win the possession back. But North Carolina very methodical in the way that they're going about it. Tar Heels off that tie with Mercer the other night, 0-0, looking for an early opportunity.
Sam Williams, they try to get it into the box, and it's poked away. Good defense holding for Cal. Kevin Carmichael with the touch to clear it out. Now North Carolina, Luke Hilley's way, loses control. Tar Heels with it. This is what North Carolina is going to look to do. They're going to be very deliberate, very judicious with their attacking opportunities. Poked away. Malcolm Zalayet, an impressive offensive player for the Golden Bears, lost his footing, and North Carolina reassumes possession.
Yeah, Leonard Griffin very high on Zalayet, said he's got a bright future, a lot of minutes as a freshman this year for the Bears. And this is a team in Cal that has done a nice job of mixing some older talent with some younger players and trying to mesh it together here in the early part of the ACC schedule.
North Carolina can't find a seam for their leading scorer, Martin Vichian, so pulling the reins back. Tar Heels reverse it, and an overpass goes out at the sideline back to Cal.
Really like what we're seeing from the Bears early here, Darren, as you see Carlos Amano, the head coach of the Tar Heels. Boy, has done a phenomenal job with this UNC program. Third-ranked Tar Heels, we mentioned, unbeaten through the first 8 games for the 2nd consecutive season. And a big one tonight for the Tar Heels as they continue on here in conference play.
Sam Williams a touch out. Vichian crosses it in, and Brocker there to knock it down and receive. And
North Carolina's going to have to string some passes together, I think, tonight, Darren, or just find a way to get into that final third, because Brocker has been so good this year at just coming off his line, fielding those balls. It's going to take a big effort to get one past him this evening. But the other thing for Brocker, too, has been how he has stepped up as a leader in his junior season. Talking with Coach Griffin, said, you know, he's kind of waited his time. It's an old school story, isn't it, in this day and age of the transfer portal. Brocker's a guy that's waited his time. He's learned from some veterans and now is becoming the emotional and the vocal leader of this Cal defense.
Overshot by Tate Johnson and out of bounds again. Yeah, it's refreshing, dare I say, when you see that. And I think Griffin offered the same sentiment when we spoke to him about Brocker. He's very proud about the season he's having and sort of seeing it pan out for the positive, or the affirmative rather, in the case of players sticking around and waiting for their chance.
In a way, it's kind of an old school approach. It's not really in vogue now, and the credit goes to the Cal coaching staff for being able to keep him around, but the credit also to the player for sticking it out when you probably could have gone somewhere else.
Kieran Bracken-Sarah is number 11 there in the middle of your screen. They're going to work through him, it looks like. Knocked down by Sam Williams. Tar Heels regroup.
I think this is what we're going to see a lot of tonight, Darren. Just both teams trying to find the seam, being very methodical with their attack, but for Cal, a lot of the game has been played here on their defensive third. Cal's got to find a way to reverse the flow of play here at some point. You certainly don't want to be back on your heels if you're the Bears all night long.
They started off on the right foot, very aggressive with the pressure. North Carolina has kind of used that to their favor to play this field position battle. There's some room for the Golden Bears ahead to Alfredo Ortiz. Finds a seam. North Carolina's all the way backed up to defend. Inlet pass headed out. Perfectly placed for Martin Vician. He loses his handle, and the Bears will reset with Brocker.
I think it's a good play to go back to Brocker there and just kind of build it from the back. Cal did a nice job of reversing the flows we just talked about, but you got to do a little better there. Would like to see them be a little more patient, try to build at least a half chance there and test this North Carolina defense that, as we pointed out earlier, has been pretty good to start the season for the Tar Heels.
Nishimura from Hopkins. Cal swings it around. Bo Morrison tries a ball forward. Good stab at it by Matthew Acosta of North Carolina to get it back for the Tar Heels.
50-50 balls will be paramount tonight, as they typically are in these games between teams that are so tightly matched, which is the case really top to bottom in the ACC again this year, and just even tougher with the addition of some of the teams that have come into the league, Cal being one of them.
Along with Stanford is having a remarkable start to their year. SMU as well, who Cal has already seen physical play. It will stay with North Carolina. Luke Hilly on the receiving end from Bracken Sarah of Cal.
Boy, how good has Hilly been for the Tar Heels this year? Brace against East Tennessee State. First 2 goals as a Tar Heel. Of course, the transfer from NC State. Had a big game against his former team earlier this year.
Speaking of the changing tides of collegiate athletics, right? That's not something you would have seen all that often or ever, even 5-6 years ago.
Maybe even 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Changing by the day. I think if you're North Carolina, you're pleased with the first 8 minutes or so of this one. You've gotten some half chances. You've held possession for the majority, and now looking to build on that here.
Into the box off of the check pass, down to the end line. Cross is headed into the air and then away by Cal. Corralled though. Tar Heels with it again. Tate Johnson. Vician, 1 touch. Nice pass, just barely got through. Another cross, and it's out at the end line. This will be a North Carolina corner.
Something the Tar Heels have not had a lot of lately. 4 or fewer corners in each of the last 3 matches for the Tar Heels. And these are going to be important today for both teams, and particularly in this case for North Carolina. These set piece opportunities, Darren, you've really got to take advantage of these when you can. North Carolina likes to play it short here and try to build an attack.
Right back to Juan Cafaro. He has it poked away in the box and smothered up by a few Cal defenders. It's really well done by the Golden Bears.
Clearly is.
Out near to mid-pitch before it's taken back by North Carolina. Scramble opportunity here. Sam Williams ends up with it at his feet. It's on the ground, and Brocker dives and makes the save.
Oh boy, a little bit of a delayed response there from Brocker. That was the one that was a little testy for the junior who leads the ACC in saves, but did a nice job to recover and keep it 0-0. We'll take another look at it here. North Carolina with the overplay off the turnover, and then a great effort just to get this ball on frame by Williams. And Brocker, who again has been so good this year, first in the ACC with 26 saves, is good on his first test tonight.
North Carolina again has pretty successfully moved to the middle of the field. They're still right at the fringe of their offensive third with some of the back and forth possession. There's a deflection. Could have favored Cal momentarily, but a physical play by Jamison Charles of North Carolina will slow things down.
I think that's a good call there. This is, as you pointed out a couple of times, a pretty physical start to this match. I think if you're the officials, you want to rein it in a little bit here. Don't let it get too physical, too chippy, and maybe Cal a little bit too quick on the restart there.
Maybe a little too far forward as well, based on the indication from our official. Eric Duncan quick to let it loose, keeps it on the ground. Check heads it away for North Carolina, and this time the foul goes against Cowell. Zelaya just a little too aggressive, trying to chase it into the corner, but like we've mentioned, Cal has not often had it in their attacking third, so I think that's an aggressive play worth making if you're Zelaya.
And I think if you're Cal, you've got to take some chances tonight there. And you've struggled to score multiple goals really all season long. We mentioned it earlier, just the one game this year they've scored more than one goal in a match. You've got to be aggressive. I think especially early in the match, try to create some of those opportunities. And I think it begins with defense for the Bears tonight.
Tar Heels on the attack, sliding effort, and then it is slightly cleared by Cal. Check. The cross too far out in front of Vitchian.
It'll also be interesting to see how North Carolina works to get their leading scorers open. Vitchian chief among them with those 6 goals this year. How does he get free? And then maybe if he is continuing to be marked as he is by the Bears, who steps up as that secondary option for the Tar Heels?
Vitchian has really been the prime finisher for North Carolina this year. Here's a look ahead, deep into the corner. Tate Johnson corrals it, sends in a cross over Vitchian's head. Tar Heels back with it. Check from outside the box. Reverses it. Johnson can't find the corner. And this will be a goal kick for the Bears.
Really good defensive play there by Cal, using that touch line, that end line. Is really an extra defender. Hopkins, a nice job walling it off there, preventing the corner kick and giving possession back to the Bears. Now, I want to go back to that cross you saw in to Vitchian a moment ago. I think that's how North Carolina is going to get him free. They've got to find a way to get him into that finishing third and let him use his talent to make those plays against this Cal defense.
North Carolina with a defender briefly on the ground. Williams, pass deflected. The tight press evaded. Ahead to Duncan, who was wrapped up with the defender Charlie Harper.
And you're continuing to see that tight press there from Cal, pushing the defense even higher, trying to smother any opportunities that North Carolina has, Darren. I like the effort by Cal's defense. You know, it's not just Brocker. We know he's been tested a lot. But for Cal, they've only given up, what, 20 goals this year over their first 7 or 8 matches. So they're playing pretty good defense. Probably would like to tighten it up a little bit more against the #3 team in the country tonight. More physical play. And that's the right call there, as North Carolina will get possession back.
Possibly a bit more incidental than some of the other plays we've seen, but Sam Williams taken to the ground. This will slow things down in reverse direction. It's been an interesting flow to this one. We talk about sort of that center line favoring North Carolina, but regardless of where it's happening, the struggle between the presses applied by both of these teams has been interesting to watch. Check back to Riley Thomas, wearing the captain's armband for North Carolina. Acosta finds Tate Johnson.
Unfortunate play there for Carmichael, who just slipped on the pitch there and just ushered that one aside. Would love a better effort to clear there, but now forces North Carolina to set up, and Cal can reset defensively.
That's a break for North Carolina. A rocky touch by Tate Johnson, trying to bring that ball down that went right to Carmichael. So North Carolina keeps their possession. It's been heavy possession for the Tar Heels so far in this one. Here's Acosta, middle of the field. Williams into the corner. Lofted left, nowhere near another Tar Heel. Great hustle. Harper keeps it for the Tar Heels. Check and Hilly for North Carolina. Can't corral it. It bounces up into the stands. And whistles as the ball was thrown back in play by a child. We only need one of those.
Might make it more fun to play with two.
More challenging for sure. Maybe we'd see a few more goals scored.
We would indeed, I bet. I think if you're North Carolina, you're pleased at the way you've started the game. Cal probably pleased at the defense they're playing too. North Carolina, kind of to reset, Darren said, really the only half chance of the night thus far. And you're seeing this methodical nature continue for North Carolina, really executing what they want to do and trying to get their playmakers involved. If you're Cal, you would love to, as we've said earlier, reverse the flow and have some sustained time, and you're attacking third. And Brocker there, just too easy for him.
Simple play made by the goalkeeper for Cal to keep it scoreless. Not sure that that was an earnest shot attempt by Juan Cafaro, but nobody there on the tail end for North Carolina. Matthew Acosta with a man to the ground. Good interception there. Kevin Carmichael gets it back for Cal. Ball ahead, looking for Duncan. And that's an exceptional seal. Charlie Harper was all over him to get it back to Cordes. That's something that Cal has targeted. Eric Duncan is a taller, longer frame, somebody that they can target in an offensive attacking situation. But that's a couple of times now, Chris, they've gone up for him, and it's been sealed off by North Carolina.
And Duncan's kind of becoming that focal point, to your point, and he's playing at a really high level. Played the full 90 at Virginia last time out, had a season high 5 shots with a couple of them on target. Made now 4 starts on the season, and Duncan, you feel like could be one of those breakout guys for Cal if he's given an opportunity to get some space here against this North Carolina defense.
Cafaro sends in another. Vician tried a header but couldn't quite reach it.
And another good job by Cal there defensively, marking Vician with a couple of defenders, really making life difficult for him as he tried to finish here. We'll get another look at it on the replay. Good ball in. Vician, you see, marked by the 2 defenders, and then a great job there by Hopkins to deny him that header, and Cal with the possession trying to reverse the flow again.
Here's Duncan after a redirected 50-50 ball. Cal resets to the back line. Carmichael back for Brocker. Long ball Duncan's way. He got ahead on it. And then was too forceful. Long ball again. Johnson runs it down. And then it's knocked away. Another great sweeping play by Santiago Hopkins of Cal.
but it is going to result in another corner kick for North Carolina, Darren. So it'll be interesting to see what the Tar Heels elect to do here. Remember that first corner kick they got tonight, elected to play it short. Do they have a service in? Maybe looking for Vitchian perhaps on that far post. We'll see how the Tar Heels want to play it.
It was Cafaro from the opposite end. This is Sam Williams. He's going to play it up into the air to the far side of the box. Hopkins again rejects it. Now they'll go back to Williams. Cross on the ground. Little heel kick by Riley Thomas, but it sneaks far right.
Good effort there by Thomas. You can see the rise smile. If you're North Carolina, you'd love to have somebody running toward that far post as maybe a secondary option in case it was a bit wide. But really good effort there by the Tar Heels. We'll take another glance at it here. And oh, Vitchian again just couldn't shake free to run to that far post to put one on frame. So the Bears with a bit of an exhale here as Thomas continues to have a phenomenal season for North Carolina, the 5th year using his COVID season here in Chapel Hill.
That looked to me, Chris, like he intended for Vitchian to be the runner there. I mean, you know, Thomas is not one to given an opportunity in a wide open net, of course, but he's not the goal scorer, right? They want to find Martin Vitchian in those situations.
Goes back to what we said earlier. North Carolina's got to find some creative ways, some different ways to get Vitchian free. He's had a couple of opportunities tonight, and Cal's been fortunate that he's not had one.
Alfredo Ortiz sends in a beautiful pass, and it is just mistouched. Otherwise, a really good-looking opportunity for the Bears, and Brendan Bell, the midfielder, a sophomore.
Very fortunate there for the Bears. Good run by Cal, or very fortunate for the Tar Heels. Good run there by Cal, but just not able to get enough on it to really threaten the goal in Cortez.
That's the first time they've really broken through and gotten something of an opportunity.
I don't even know that you would call that a half chance, just like maybe a slither of an opportunity.
Yeah.
And again, it was Duncan who was making the run there for Cal. You can sort of see their game plan developing, get Duncan very heavily involved in the offense.
You mentioned North Carolina wanting to get Vitchian chances. Not only does he lead the team in goals, he leads them in shots with 25 overall, 13 of those on goal. That also leads the Tar Heels. So he, in a lot of ways, when they're trying to perform with a volume, he's their guy.
And you'd love to see somebody else step up to be that secondary scorer for North Carolina as well, especially as you get deeper into the ACC season. Some of the opponents that North Carolina will face in the league slate still to come. You'd love to see somebody else kind of be that next option for North Carolina, but I think everybody around the country is looking for a second or third option in terms of offense. Everybody's got a dude, right?
Everybody's got a dude. The best of the best have several dudes. Situationally, too.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Sometimes they play smaller roles, but they come through when they're called upon. There's one in for Duncan. Ounces away. No chance for Ortiz either. There's Hopkins all the way from the back line. Nothing doing on a cross. It is ricocheted back to the sideline.
And to your point earlier about Duncan, you certainly wonder 6'4", how much does his frame, his size, how much is that an advantage, especially if you could get one up and he could flick a header on target?
Nice defensive touch by Tate Johnson, leads to a pass up for Vitchian. North Carolina centers it up. Matthew Acosta now with some run. Tar Heels don't necessarily have numbers, but some space. A bit too much on the pass across for Andrew Check. Sam Williams palms to the air. Not sure if he wanted a call there, or
I didn't see anything that warranted a call. It just seemed like he put too much weight on that pass to me, Darren. Perhaps thought his teammate was going to make more, be in a different spot.
Yeah.
But that's one that was a little heavy, perhaps, that he'd like to have back. And doing a nice job trying to win that 50-50 ball for the Tar Heels.
Alfredo Ortiz comes away with it, though. Nishimura forwards. And Cal has not had a lot of luck on those longer shots trying to advance the ball. Here's a look ahead. Vician, a step inside. Great recovery as Carmichael clears it.
Talked about Carmichael earlier and the season and the career that he has had at Cal. First team All Pac-12 last year, and in the first season as an ACC member for Cal, Carmichael on the preseason ACC watch list.
Substitution for North Carolina here. Ahmad Al-Kwak will enter in place of Juan Cafaro. Milton Jones takes the place of Luke Hilly as well. Jones, just a freshman, cozying into playing time as a reserve for the Tar Heels. Vician, slight on the touch, gives it right back to Cal. Great sliding tackle there by Andrew Check to slow things down. That will stay with the Bears. Hopkins, the long ball ahead. Thomas, that was not intended for Harper, but it was right at his chest. This might create problems. Ishimura pokes it out of trouble. Nice move by Bracken Sarah to keep it alive for the Bears. Ortiz, heavy left, and it's out of bounds.
I don't know that I like that play from Cal there, Darren. You're doing such a nice job being meticulous with setting it up, and I realize you're looking to reverse the flow, trying to change the angle, but I think I continue to try to build something and then get a run going toward the goal versus trying to send one to the opposite side that you really had nobody home on.
We mentioned earlier Leonard Griffin wants his team to be aggressive, but there's a fine line, right? Aggressive or reckless in that regard.
Yeah,
right?
I think you can take some chances, especially in the first half. You've played a really good game to this point. I think you've executed everything you wanted to do, and now maybe take a chance offensively.
We too talked about the ideal flow of this game for the #3 Tar Heels. I think ideally Carlos Somoano would have wanted one of those opportunities to cash them in a goal early, and they get that early lead. Cal has kept that from happening, and therefore you can turn up the pressure a little bit, and maybe, who knows, it gets to the Tar Heels. Hopkins sliding cross, nobody there.
But in a game where both teams have been so good defensively all year long, that first goal tonight, whoever gets it, is going to be super paramount, because then that does change how your opposition is forced to play for the rest of the contest.
Really hard tackle. Zelaya again with the pressure, takes out Charlie Harper.
That's a heavy play, to your point there from Cal. I don't think there was anything, no malice was meant there. It's just two guys making a play on the ball, going hard for their team. You saw the referee stop play, issue a warning, just trying to get cooler heads to prevail. Do not want to issue any sort of cards for something like that. I think that's just a good hard-nosed play, but don't want to get the game to get out of hand, especially in the first half.
Back and forth with some 50-50 balls. Carmichael unable to clear it for Cal. Now the Tar Heels regroup and reverse it to the other side of the field. Vician outside of the box, back pass, quick touch, hard left, but it was blocked. Carmichael all over it. North Carolina still on it, and Al-Kwak hammers it to the side of the goal.
Boy, really good defense again by Cal. We've talked about how good the Bears have been defensively this year. What a play by Carmichael. That's the reason why he was selected to the ACC preseason watch list, for a great slide defensive play like that. If he didn't make that play, good chance it's 1-0 North Carolina.
Certainly looked like that was going to be on frame, to say the least, for North Carolina. Now what's going on here?
I'm wondering if we're getting a review here, Darren, on who the ball was out of. This is he's sort of speaking extemporaneously, but maybe trying to deduce if this is either a goal kick or a corner kick, because there's so many bodies there on that touchline. Who touched it last? Will it be a goal kick for the Bears, or will it be the third corner of this first half for North Carolina?
If it is the latter, it'll be interesting to see what North Carolina does here. That is the side of the field where it was Cafaro earlier, but here's a look at it.
I wonder if they're
Carmichael.
also maybe looking at a handball here too, Darren.
That does seem to be the case. That's what that would indicate, because that was way sooner in the play.
I think maybe a handball, and did it get the hand of Carmichael? If it does, remember that results in a penalty kick for North Carolina. And how backbreaking would that be for Cal if a handball is awarded here? North Carolina could get the penalty kick. And again,
we have confirmed they are looking in the event that it was a handball on Carmichael on that first attempted shot.
Mike Stutt, our lead referee tonight. And I like the fact we have the video reviews. I wish we could find a way to make this a little quicker. It has stopped the momentum of what has been a very well played and entertaining first half. As you're seeing Carmichael there saying, no, it got my rib cage.
Well, I think what might have drawn some attention is you saw on the replay there, after it hit him, there was an extension of his arm, but it happened far too quickly for that arm, I think anyways, to have come into play.
Good look at it here. See, he turns away from it. Hard to tell there if it hits his elbow or if it hits maybe his shoulder or his rib cage. Watch the right elbow.
Yeah, he did pat earlier when explaining. Again, we're assuming that that's what he was explaining to his teammates, that it hit him sort of under the right shoulder blade.
Goal kick. You can
all right.
Read the lips. Goal kick.
So no handball, no penalty kick for North Carolina. Like you said, that would have been a massive swing in this game.
But they got the call right, which you do appreciate. Gives everyone a chance to catch their breath as well.
First touch for North Carolina off of the goal kick. How about this? Milton Jones running it down against Hopkins. Tries to cross him up. Great defense.
I have been so impressed by the work that Hopkins has done on the defensive end for Cal tonight.
North Carolina trying to keep it on the offensive. Check back for Charles. Acosta back around, check, across. Defense holds up for Cal. Acosta nearly lost it and goes back. Jones again gets around Hopkins, knocked to the ground. Was that inside the box for a PK?
I think we're just going to get it. Let's take another look. I thought it was incidental contact here initially, Darren. I don't know that I see something that's that egregious to be called a foul, particularly given some of the no calls that we've seen here in the first half. I can certainly understand if you're a Tar Heel fan, you want that call, yes, but I don't think there's enough there to warrant that being a foul inside the box to award a penalty kick. I think that's a good no call by the officials there. Now, they will go back and take a look at it here, but I think on the field, the no call is the proper one.
As of now, it will be a goal kick for Cal. Carlos Simwano pleading North Carolina's case. Well, this was a matchup that we saw just moments prior to this second edition. And Hopkins came away the victor. This time Milton Jones was trying to sneak around him.
Yeah, as you take a look here too, they're going to get their feet tangled up right there, and I think that's just Hopkins, in my mind, making a play on the ball. I think he's just trying to get it away from the offensive player of North Carolina. I think you just play on there, Darren. Yeah, no penalty
That's
kick.
What we'll do.
Yeah, it's a good call.
All of a sudden, Mike Studd, our referee, has had his work cut out for himself past couple of minutes. Prior to those, this was a pretty free-flowing game, physical but in control. Jones forwards. Alquak with the cross up for Vitchian, who can't get contact with it. Well, when it's not been Hopkins defensively for Cal, it's been Carmichael, and he went up with the big number 9 of North Carolina.
And we knew Vitchian was going to be the focal point for Cal in their scouting report tonight. That's a really good effort there by North Carolina to try to get Vitchian back involved. But Cal continues to be, Darren, great defensively. We talked at the outset about how good Brocker has been and all the saves that he's had to make this year. You wonder, okay, is he getting tested so much but because maybe the defense has let him down? No, not been the case tonight. His defense in front of Brocker has been tremendous against this third-ranked North Carolina offense.
Particularly these two seniors back here. Hopkins looking to make a run. Gives it right to Jamison Charles. Alquak with it. Long shot, one hop, and it's off the right side. Brocker got fingertips on it, so it'll be another North Carolina corner kick.
Hey, this is, as we take another look, another good ball for North Carolina. Trying to drive one from distance there, and probably one that Brocker would like to have back, as that would never really threaten that near post. North Carolina does get the corner.
A whistle right after it was lofted into the air is going to slow things down and keep it with Cal. So that practically negates the corner kick for North Carolina.
Obviously, still plenty of time for both these teams to make a push, and if you're Cal, you'd love to spend a considerable amount of time on this side of the pitch. It's been a first half, and I'd be curious to see at halftime how much of this first half in terms of possession has been dominated by North Carolina in their attacking third. Because it certainly seems like outside of maybe a couple of half chances here or there, North Carolina has had many more opportunities than Cal. And the Bears have been fortunate on a couple of those breaks, those reviews, that they did not go against them, and what could have been a penalty kick, a couple of penalty kicks for that matter, against the Bears. But thanks to video review, not the case.
All told, under 13 minutes until halftime. I mean, the Golden Bears have done an admirable job defensively and kept this too. We mentioned it earlier, at a point where that first goal has not been scored yet. And then if it was to be Cal to score that first goal, I mean, that would be a huge lift in the momentum.
That would be massive for the Bears, right? I mean, this is a team that has not had an opportunity really to play from ahead a whole lot. They've been in these grinded out kind of games. They would love for somebody to step up and score a couple of goals tonight. We're talking with Leonard Griffin, the head coach for Cal, prior to the match this week, and you said, hey, what would it mean for you guys to score a couple of goals? And it was almost like you were trying to be prophetic for the Bears.
That's the way he took it anyways. He says, hey, you're spotting us too. We've only done that once all year. I'll take it.
But I think that also speaks to just how tough it is to win in this sport on a nightly basis when everybody, especially now in the ACC, everybody is so talented. The league, top to bottom, is very good. And the difference between winning and losing is so small.
Margins are razor thin, and that's something Griffin knows. Right? I mean, he was a national champion at UCLA. Played in Major League Soccer for a stint.
And it's also different for Cal, too, and for North Carolina, for that matter. I mean, this is not a foe you're super familiar with, right? I mean, these teams have not been conference counterparts at all, ever. And you're trying to learn these new styles really on the fly.
Yeah, this is just the second all-time meeting between these two programs. Obviously, the first in conference competition. Hopkins goes up and makes a great play with his head, but slow to get up.
Certainly glad he's okay. Maybe trying to embellish a little bit to get a call there.
Alfredo Ortiz keeps it on the ground. Justin Knighton, who just checked in, knocked out of bounds by Charles, and it's a corner kick for Cal.
And this is where the Bears really have to take advantage, Darren. We talked about North Carolina and their set piece opportunities. Cal's really got to be aggressive, I think, here on this corner kick. Give yourself a good look at it. You wonder here if you're maybe targeting Duncan, that 6'4" target out there, perhaps getting one near the frame that he could head in and try to get it past the North Carolina defense.
Ortiz lifts it out toward Duncan. A lot of bodies there. Bears get it back outside the box. Excellent defensive play, and it is harmless and on the ground right to Cortez.
That was a good service in there by Cal to give themselves a couple of looks. That one really didn't test Cortez, but the Bears did at least have a couple of opportunities. Watch this service in here. Good ball in right in front. Good defensive play by North Carolina as well to knock that one away. And then not much on that shot there on target. It was North Carolina with playing great defense again. As we talked about, this is a group effort for the Tar Heels defensively this year, one of the best in the ACC. North Carolina with those 5 shutouts this season and approaching scoreless first half here at this beautiful facility in Chapel Hill.
Bitchian, quick one-touch. Oh, unfortunate for North Carolina. That's off the heel of Sam Williams, who wasn't ready.
A couple of unfortunate heel touches for Williams tonight.
Ortiz has it ripped away. Jones gets it back. Acosta to Charles, across to Check. Intended for Vichy and intercepted. Giancarlo Mota. But North Carolina gets it right back. Alquak down to the end line. Jones can't keep it in.
Only a couple shots on goal against Brocker tonight. Really has not been tested.
Jones with the pressure for North Carolina, making it a bit more stressful for the Bears. Knighton comes away with it. A little bit of an opening, but it's shut down by Riley Thomas. Knighton the slide and deflects it out of bounds at the end line. So a goal kick for North Carolina.
And, you know, Knighton was one of those subs that just came in a few minutes ago for Cal. Maybe a little extra burst of energy here late in the first half, just trying to make something happen for Cal, who's only had one shot on goal tonight, only one corner kick. It's really been what we anticipated it being, Darren, and that's kind of a grinded out, methodical game between these two teams that have been so good at denying opportunities for their opposition.
How about Carmichael going up over the back of Vitchian to get that header?
Carmichael and Hopkins have just been the dynamic duo for Cal defensively.
Everywhere too, right? I mean, they're running the end line, running the sidelines.
And those are two guys you can build around if you're Cal too, right? I mean, obviously, Carmichael, the senior.
Alquak sent it in. It ping-pongs out. Jones doesn't get all of it. Trying to send it back in and whistles as we've got a North Carolina player down.
I believe that's, and it is, it's Williams who is down.
There was a lot going on there, so easy to understand if he got tangled up with another player.
And Hopkins comes over, good show of sportsmanship here. Looks like they just got tangled up again. Wonder maybe just twisted that ankle a little bit there. Again, I don't think anything malicious. I just think it's two guys going hard for their teammates. This is an emotional game, a physical game. Hopkins has been in the fray, as we mentioned, really all night long, and just trying to make a play.
Right to Hopkins, ahead for Ortiz, who loses his handle, gets it right back. Hopkins ahead.
Oh, good ball here.
And a sliding tackle to prevent the play being made. Riley Thomas, the general on that back line for North Carolina, comes up with another big play. And here we go, back and forth, back and forth. Which team is going to break through with that attack opportunity?
And you saw how close Cal was there, Darren, on that good ball in. If Thomas doesn't make that play, really good opportunity for the Bears to strike here late in the first half.
Hopkins tries it ahead. Nonso Adimebois brings it down, but with the hand.
That was definitely a handball.
Yeah, no question. No review required on that one. Under 4.5 to play until halftime. Still no score. But the temperature rising in this one.
Still seeing Williams showing the effects with that left ankle there. We'll monitor that. You wonder if that might be something that continues to give him problems throughout the rest of the match.
Acosta one touch. Ooh, a touch back for Alquak. Centers it up. Vitchian right back. Williams too strong of a touch, and it's cleared out by the Bears. Bracken Sarah on the slide tackle. But now Tate Johnson rips it back away for North Carolina into the box, crosses it over. And a non-opportunity again for the Tar Heels.
And you saw the frustration there for Vitchian to head up toward the sky. Really wanted to make more of that opportunity for the Tar Heels.
Rohan McElligott, the ball forward. Ortiz with his left, trying to sneak it in near post, but it's saved by Cortez.
Really good save there by Cortez. Good effort by Cal. It'll result in another corner kick for the Bears. And now Cal trying to capture a little bit of momentum. Again, a great ball in by Ortiz. And then, oh, just off the post there. That's been the best opportunity we've seen from Cal so far in the first half.
Ortiz sends it long again. Carmichael unable to get to it.
mean, Carmichael, you can see they wanted a foul. Did not get it. Good defensive play by North Carolina. And now we'll see how aggressive the Tar Heels want to be in the final 2+ minutes of the first half. Is Carolina wanting to make one more push, one more attack to try to get a very late first half goal? Or are the Tar Heels content to go to the locker room 0-0 and regroup for the second half? I don't know. That's why I'm sitting up here beside you.
Cortez taking his time. I was going to say that might be an indicator that they're not too worried about the time left here.
Now, I think if you're Cal with a little over 100 seconds left, you can make one more push, but you got to have a sense of urgency. And it really begins with his first touch here for the Bears.
Dimibois thought he might have had a touch into the box and an opening. If you're Cal, though, you got to be careful about being aggressive in this spot. You don't want to give up a counter attack and an opportunity that North Carolina could not refuse. And Hopkins skies it off the end line.
And I think now, if you're North Carolina, you're pretty content just to take this one to the house, Darren. Really good first half for both teams. We saw some aggressive play. We saw some half chances for both sides in this opening 45 minutes. As we expected it to be, defense was the name of this opening half.
Harper runs it down for North Carolina. Tate Johnson. And now the Heels with 25 seconds remaining, trying to handle it out. Johnson holding. Goes for Vitchian. And that's the first half. 0-0. Really impressive defensive play for both sides. Midway through this one, a crucial ACC matchup. Cal looking for its first corner kicks. 3 of those came for North Carolina in pretty quick order. We talked a lot at the beginning of the game, or in the opening minutes, how North Carolina seemingly moved the middle of the field. That was corrected by Cal, to say the least, by the time an entire half of soccer was through. It's just been very, very aggressive, but cleanly played for both defenses. 14 total fouls between both teams, but nothing egregious. It's just a lot of coincidental contact.
Yeah, and then even there was the one where we went to a review in the first half, maybe a foul inside the box that would have resulted in a penalty kick for North Carolina. It was just a guy making a play on a ball, I thought. The officials thought the same.
Now a chance. Kwak fires it in. Marco Brocker the save. That's about as open as it's gotten in the attacking third for North Carolina.
And if you're North Carolina, you probably want to have a little bit more pace on that shot as well. It was an easy ball for Brocker to handle. And then if you're Cal, how do you continue to keep up the pace that you were defending? You obviously have to continue to deny the North Carolina goal scorers. Vitchian, again, chief among them. The North Carolina leader with 6 goals and 12 points this year. North Carolina will target number 9 in light blue here in the second half, you know.
Another defensive stop for the Golden Bears, yet deep into their own defensive third. Matthew Acosta comes away with it in the midfield for North Carolina. Across here, Andrew Check.
And this is what North Carolina did so well in the first half. Keep possession of the ball, keep it in their attacking third. Cal with very few opportunities even to advance the ball past midfield in that first half. And again, that's just another nice, just incidental contact play there, Darren.
Cafaro to Hilly, Luke Hilly, both of those players subbed out midway through the first half. Back in for North Carolina. Nice touch. And across in, here's Al-Kwak, and it's deflected, bouncing, and Brocker able to still make the save.
Really impressive save there by Brocker. He had that one lined up, and then watch the deflection here. Good ball in by North Carolina. Carmichael deflected it, and then it kind of changed directions on Brocker there at the last minute. Makes the sprawling save. Watch him change directions right there, and then able just to get enough of it to keep it from going into the back of the net. Tremendous play from the guy that leads the ACC in saves, Brocker, the junior, who has just been phenomenal for Cal on and off the pitch this year.
Play ahead for North Carolina, stymied. Lukili not able to come away with it.
And I think for Brocker too, Darren, you know, we talk about him becoming a leader of this team, becoming a vocal leader as well. Talking with Coach Griffin this week, said that he has learned how to talk to each of his teammates, which is a learned trait. You know, some guys might need a little encouragement in different ways, and Brocker has found the right buttons to push, the right notes to sing, if you will, with each of the members of his defense.
It was funny talking about sort of the dynamic. I mean, every goalkeeper has it. The relationships, the collective relationship with their back line. And with a couple of seniors in Carmichael and Hopkins back there, Griffin sort of laughed at the notion of Brocker needing to be a vocal goalkeeper, because those guys, he said, they do enough of the directing for him.
He said that there's nobody louder on the field than Carmichael.
Dez puts it into the stands, so a throw in for Cal.
But you sort of liken it to maybe in baseball, a pitcher-catcher relationship with the catcher, having a needing to know what each pitcher is like, having to catch 5 different starting pitchers in professional baseball. Kind of akin to the same thing.
Yeah, because every defender is going to be a bit different. We're all human, so we all communicate in slightly different, nuanced ways.
Offside flag goes up there for Cal. First time we've seen that tonight.
Interesting too. Nanso Adimibwa is a 5th-year senior who was called for offside there. He stays in place of Eric Duncan to begin this second half.
I thought Duncan was a big spark for Cal in the first half. Big target out there with that 6'4" frame. He was certainly the focal point for North Carolina a couple times defensively in the opening 45 minutes.
Adimibwa tries to touch it forward. Charlie Harper all over it on that back line for North Carolina. And checks pass out of bounds. Thought maybe it might have been knocked out of bounds by Giancarlo Mota, the defender there for Cal, but it'll be a throw in for the Bears. Until that last pass there intended for Adimibwa, pretty crisp passing by Cal.
That's what Cal's going to have to do tonight too, Darren. If they want to come away with a victory, can't give away any possession, especially in this end of the field. You've got to be crisp. You've got to connect. And that's something that Cal had a tough time doing in the first half, connecting those passes. And again, one right there, just kind of a giveaway pass. And now North Carolina very quickly has reversed the flow of play, and that's a foul and an opportunity for North Carolina here with some open space to create something perhaps on a free play.
Speaking of subs made in the first half that have remained in, Ahmad Al-Kwak has been a focal point for the attack for North Carolina since entering, including at the start of the second half as he remains in. A graduate in his second season with North Carolina, was at Elon prior to that.
He's done a nice job in whatever role the Tar Heels need him to. Has come off the bench some for North Carolina. He started a couple of games. One of those interchangeable parts was those unsung heroes, perhaps, of this North Carolina season. That, to your point earlier, somebody that can assimilate to whatever role the club needs him to take. And that could be different from match to match or half to half.
Nice move by Lukili. Centers it back up. Cafaro sends it out of bounds. A goal kick on coming here for Brocker and Cal. Thinking about the flow of this match so far, Chris, the longer this goes on without a score, I'm not sure I have a strong opinion on who that favors.
I was thinking the same thing.
Juan Cafaro with a head of steam runs right into Hopkins and cedes possession.
But I was thinking, you know, this is not a must-win, have-to-win, need-to-win game for Cal, for North Carolina for that matter either. But it's a need-a-point game, I think, for both these teams. Obviously, the 3 points goes a long way in the ACC standings. When we talked with Leonard Griffin, I found it interesting that he does talk about the fact there is a conference tournament in the ACC, something that is new for this Cal program that they did not have in the Pac-12.
Hilly an inside-out move. Tried it a couple of times to get it in even deeper. All clock out, check. Sends it in, headed out by Carmichael. Here's Tate Johnson. Just outside of the box. Lofted in, checks way. He redirects. Mota pokes it out. And there Cal comes away with the possession in full. They're giving right back, right? It's connecting those passes in the middle of the field like you were talking about just a moment ago.
But back to the point about the conference tournament, I mean, you start to think about points. Teams are going to get left out. Really talented teams are going to get left out of the ACC tournament. And you don't think about it now. What, you played a couple of ACC matches, maybe not at the front of your brain, but you just start thinking about stacking points and stacking victories when you can get them. Maybe more important for North Carolina to try to get a result tonight, protecting the home pitch, because the Tar Heels are going to go on the road, face some very stiff competition. Clemson, Notre Dame, Stanford, all on the road in the league for North Carolina. And as hard as it is to win at home, that much more difficult to win on the road in this league.
Jamison Charles, a burst, gets to Tate Johnson. Hopkins, a hard tackle to poke it away for Cal. There's a pass ahead, controlled by Zelaya. He's the only Bear in the attacking third, though. Taken to task by Riley Thomas, but retains possession, and now he's got some help. But as a result, Cal, without that head of steam, that momentum, is going to have to reset it.
I do like the play by Zelaya, though, to wait for help to arrive, not try to take it on his own.
Oh, Alfredo Ortiz takes a hard spill as he and Tate Johnson were chasing that one down.
I think that may be warranted of a card here. Watch that. That just seemed unnecessary there, Darren. The play was clearly over. Ortiz had basically given himself up, and no card has been issued, but certainly an aggressive play, but maybe one that was a little too aggressive and too far after the conclusion of the action. And probably fortunate for Johnson, he was not given a card in that situation.
Yeah, so the complexion of this match continues as physical, but the officials are letting them play.
Which is what you want. You don't want a game decided on a call or a no call.
Set piece for Alfredo Ortiz. And punched up and away out of bounds by Cortez. So it'll be a Cal corner.
And that's important for Cal. I think the longer the Bears can keep it on this end of the attacking third, continue to give themselves opportunities and chances. You feel like if you continue to get quality looks, at some point one's going to break the wall of this North Carolina defense. There'll be a slight crack. Can Cal take advantage? But we have not seen Cal be able to really convert it all, Darren, on any of these corner kicks tonight. It just seems like the Bears have maybe put a little too much weight on some of these corners. I'll be interested to see who they target now with Duncan not in there.
Ortiz stays close. Kieran Bracken-Sarah taps it to him and gets it right back. Now up for Giancarlo Mota. Back out Ortiz. The cross. Header. Cortez the save.
What a ball in. Good effort there by Cal. Really their first golden opportunity of the night, but Cortez was terrific. Read that one perfectly. You see the good service in right in front of the cage, a good header, and Cortez able to smother it nicely. It's a tough ball to handle too, one that was knuckleballing a bit on the North Carolina redshirt junior. And that's the big key too, to make the initial save, but then not to give another opportunity to your opponent there to tap one back in. Great job by Cortez, who has kind of been another one of those quiet, unsung heroes of this North Carolina defense.
Check on the other end. Chips it. Ortiz able to cleanly clear it out. Nonso Adimebois chasing it down up front for Callaghan. You know, he's in that situation because of his ability to get up and get to the ball at 6'4". He really had to go down and get that last header that he put on frame. I mean, that's a really impressive attempt. Carmichael, speaking of which, an impressive takeaway for Cal.
And now we've kind of had that flurry of offense by both teams. You wonder if we're going to settle back into a similar first half where it was slight opportunity, but really it was all about the two defenses.
I think that's also not necessarily accounting for these teams as this thing sits at 0-0 and the pressure cooker a little bit longer. How do they change their attacking approach? Lukili rounds across.
Sure, does one team press a little tighter? Does one team become a little more aggressive? Which team feels like they have the ability to be more aggressive too, I think is a good point as well. You know, does Cal start to press a little bit, feeling like they need to get an ACC win, or are they content with just the 1 point?
Smothering defense by North Carolina. Johnson the takeaway. Passes it to nobody. Carmichael there to get it right back for the Golden Bears. So that's something we've seen a lot in the vice versa. Now the Bears progressively moving it.
Much better job by Cal.
Adimebois, strong left, and it's in! Nonso Adimebois with a rocket off of his left foot, and Cal strikes first. They go up 1-0 on number 3, North Carolina.
Cal was doing a much better job of connecting passes like we talked about. Now watch this blast. Just a slither of daylight and nothing that Cortez could do there. A rocket to the far post. And it's Cal with the first goal, the second of the ACC season, the other coming at NC State for Adimebois. And boy, what another brilliant shot. And now North Carolina playing back on its heels a bit. And we talked about it, Darren. You continue to get opportunities. At some point, you're going to find a slight slither of a crack. And the Bears took advantage. And it really began again with defense connecting a couple of passes, leading to the great strike, a brilliant goal, and the Bears with the lead.
And just like that, Martin Vichian back on for North Carolina. He replaces Juan Cafaro.
Outside of maybe one shot this half off that ricochet.
Okay, trainees, let's work on our fast and friendly claim service.
Eyes on the phone now.
Look alive, Drew.
Your repairs have been scheduled.
Nice.
Yes, you'll get a rental car on site.
Heads up. Oh, I'm gonna turn this down to an 8. My bad.
We can do this all day. Geico claim service is 24/7. Nice catch.
Your claim has been approved! Your claim has been approved.
For savings and service, get more with Geico.
My name is Madison Keys. This is my 15th year playing professional tennis, but I'm more than just a tennis player. Sometimes athletes get mislabeled because they see us at
And Cal potentially with a run here. Ortiz dishes back out. Check back to Cordes, and North Carolina is going to try again.
On the flip side, if you're Cal, Darren, I don't think you change anything in the way you're playing, despite having that first goal. I think you continue to press if you're the Bears. We've talked really ad nauseum tonight about their inability to score multiple goals in a match. Have not done that against an ACC opponent or a power conference opponent this year. Scored 5 goals against Dominican. And I think if you're Cal, you continue to press and look for that second goal. A 2-goal lead for the Bears with 28 minutes to go in the match would be monumental.
I think maybe the slight change for Cal is North Carolina with a substitution. Parker O'Farrell is now on. Maybe the slight change is with the Vichy sub in for North Carolina, right? That kind of changes how you do things on the backside, as Hopkins has been all over him.
But it doesn't change the need to continue to be crisp in your passes and connect passes and let your defense be the catalyst to get your offense going. That's how Cal scored that first goal 8 minutes ago. They need to continue to do that. Let that defense continue to be what sparks your offense, which seems to have been the case with the Bears all season long.
Number 3, North Carolina has not been defeated yet this season. The Cal Golden Bears looking for their first ACC win in program history as new members of the conference. Check a step in, puts his left on it. There's Hopkins again to keep it out of Vichian's way.
Well, how good have Hopkins and Carmichael been for Cal tonight? Will be a corner kick, though, for North Carolina. So we'll see if the Tar Heels can finally capitalize on one of these set-piece chances. Now look for Vichy to get a touch somewhere here.
Carmichael first to it. Not bad service by Sam Williams. Alamad Al-Kwak with it. Sends it across, nobody there. Alfredo Ortiz corrals it for Cal, and it's pushed out off the end line.
Good effort there by O'Farrell, just trying to make a play. But Cal, another goal kick, another chance for the Bears to use some clock. Leonard Griffin, the Pac-12 Coach of the Year a season ago. Boy, what a win this would be for his program. Coming to the East Coast for the second time this year. Racking up those frequent flyer miles from San Francisco to Raleigh-Durham.
Yeah, we talked to him, too, about the change, right? I mean, obviously, it's the elephant in the room with these West Coast schools. Cordes up to eliminate the opportunity for Cal. He kind of laughed it off. He said, all right, you know, we got this under our belt. Coming to Raleigh once this year. We got a few more schools there, so it seems like a lot of these road trips are going to be similar. And he said, thankfully, we've got some pretty good directs from SFO to RDU.
Just leave a day earlier. Recovery sessions more important probably now. Probably a few more recovery sessions. Right now, the last trip they're scheduled to make to the Triangle
A lot of scrambling in the box for North Carolina. No true strike, and they'll have a chance to regather. And that goes out of bounds, so another goal kick for Cal. And you see there with Sam Williams, a little bit of frustration maybe setting in.
And you wonder if this can, how much longer this continues with Cal with the lead. North Carolina really with all of the pressure, the #3 team in the country playing at home, a game you probably feel like you're expected to win against a Cal team that has struggled to score at a high rate. The pressure then does become on North Carolina's shoulders. And how does North Carolina respond to that pressure? Do they press? Do they try to do too much and then give up a counterattack and give Cal that second goal? The longer the Bears can stay in this position in the catbird seat, Darren, the better it is for Coach Griffin's team.
Martin Mai, a new set of fresh legs for North Carolina. So they have had a couple of substitutions here in the second half that did not play in the first half. They went with Parker O'Farrell, some experience on the back line earlier.
Mai's not played a ton for North Carolina this year either, so perhaps the Tar Heel staff just looking for a spark, looking for somebody to help change the flow of this second half.
Here's Mai. Acosta gives to Check. Kwak, one touch. The second effort rattles into the back of the net. It gets by Brocker, and North Carolina ties it up. O'Farrell running from all the way at the back of the formation.
Terrific ball in here by North Carolina. We told you how Kwak was going to be involved. Good service in, then just enough with the right boot to go into the upper quadrant here. Watch this flick on. Oh, just underneath the crossbar to put it home past Brocker. And North Carolina with the equalizer. Great effort by Brocker. Oh, just needed to be about a half-inch taller to swat that one away. And now it's a sprint to the finish line as O'Farrell, Darren, ties it up, his first of the season for the Tar Heels.
Just as Nonso Ademabois strike and goal in the 60th minute changed things for Cal. That changes things. 1-1, North Carolina ties it up with not quite 23 minutes left on the clock.
And we just talked about the frustration that was starting to set in for North Carolina, and you saw the Tar Heels find a way. Just a brilliant goal for North Carolina.
Really a precision touch by O'Farrell.
And there were a couple of opportunities similar to that in the first half that North Carolina had that they just missed connecting on. We're able to connect there to tie it up. And now we'll have another opportunity on another corner kick.
North Carolina utilizing the long ball for Mai. Even though cleared out by Cal. Another chance on a corner. Ahmad Kwak sets up. Line drive, headed far post, second effort, batted down. Brocker keeps it tied at 1. Kwak a step inside. No chance at another header off the in line, and this will be another corner for North Carolina.
How good is Brocker here, Darren? It's the first ball. He makes the initial save. Then we talked earlier about making sure you halt play so you don't get another effort. Brocker unable to halt play, but he makes another sprawling save to keep this game tied at 1. Brocker, who leads the ACC in saves, comes up big for his team. They're going to need him to continue to come up big down the stretch.
Low lying, Hopkins ricochets it out of the box. North Carolina keeps hold. Into the corner for Mayan, just too strong off of Czech's foot.
And now if you're North Carolina, you feel like you're playing with a little bit of your swagger back. You've got a little bit of confidence. Now you get the goal. You've peppered Brocker a couple of times. And now North Carolina can play maybe, Darren, a little looser. With the game being tied now at 1, you can take a couple more risks. And for Cal, obviously looking to retake the lead, but don't want to prevent a counterattack here. If you're Cal, also happy to take the 1 point, but still a long way to go in this one.
Lofted in. North Carolina clears it out. Matthew Acosta trying to dial something up, motioning toward his teammates to move in a more favorable direction. But here's Alquak, center of the field, light touch to Sam Williams. O'Farrell outside the box with his right. Whoa, what a snag! Brocker comes away with another save.
Seems like he gets to just everything, doesn't it? I mean, obviously the one that he almost got to tie the game, but watch Brocker here off this shot from distance by O'Farrell. Had the first goal for North Carolina. Whew. That 6'4" frame used every piece of it there to keep it deadlocked.
The balance to keep his feet underneath him as well to ensure that he squeezed it rather than deflecting it and offering up a follow opportunity.
Goes back to what we talked about earlier, limiting the opportunities for your competition, your opponent tonight.
Some high quality opportunities for North Carolina as of late. Big boot by O'Farrell. Live from the corner. Knocked away. To check. Here's a run. Alquak centers it up, and it was knocked away.
Good build there by North Carolina. Nice crisp pass by the Tar Heels. Just couldn't connect to finish.
With the long ball there, trying to come away with one that maybe was going to leak for a Dimebois. Hard tackle. Tate Johnson seems to be a bit shaken up.
I believe a card was issued too, Darren. Yeah, it was. We'll take another look here. And in the eyes of the officials, that was warranted of a yellow card.
Second of the season for Nonso Dimebois.
A quartet of subs in for Cal as well. Knighton back in, you can see there. He really gave Cal, I think, a spark in that first half.
He had a couple of deep looks. Isaiah Thomas on for the first time in this game. He replaces Santiago Hopkins. Gaku Nishimura off as well. Adrian Guzman seeing his first minutes. But you're right, Knighton was a little bit of a spark in the first half when I think to that point, Chris, it was what we had talked about with North Carolina kind of pushing it and forcing it up the field for them and deep into Cal's defense.
I think Cal's got to start playing a little more direct here, Darren, too. And I get that they're trying to reverse the flow. They're trying to get some of those deep balls. But I think Cal's been most effective when they've been able to build some attacks like this one right here.
Header back to Knighton, some space to work with. A step into the far post, and it's just wide.
Corner coming for the Bears. We told you that Knighton gave Cal a spark in that first half, and Cal did play a little more direct. They built up the attack, and then Knighton on this good through ball got behind the defense, had a little bit of daylight, and one that he would like to have back, just missing that far post. But a good look for Cal. That would have given the Bears the lead, and that close to making it 2-1.
Tipped by Cordes, but it doesn't matter anyway.
It looks like a push there against Cal right in front, so a foul against the Bears. I believe it was Morrison that was the culpable party there.
High quality opportunity squandered for Cal. 1-1. Still 15 and a half to play. You get the sense that these are not two teams that are very much content with a 1-to-1 effort.
No, not at all. I think both teams are selling out to get that second goal to take that lead. And I do think you mentioned the great chance by Cal a moment ago. I think there are more opportunities for both these teams down the stretch, although you're not going to get that many more opportunities. So you certainly need to have better efforts than Cal did there on those chances to take the lead. You can see some frustration for Cal now too. Remember, they were issued a yellow card on a foul a few moments ago. I think the Bears feel like that was probably one that should have gone against North Carolina in terms of a card. There have been a couple of fouls this half that you think might have been a little borderline on whether a card should or should not have been issued. But it has certainly been a physical game.
Back for Brocker to distribute. Riley Thomas heads it down. Vitchian turns the corner. It's out. Vitchian trying to throw it in and keep it with North Carolina.
You like the effort. He almost got away with it.
Seemingly, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know that it was all that possible, but Acosta with room. Lie right back. Johnson for Vitchian with his right. Swipes it across the box.
Good effort there. Just trying to make something happen. You can see maybe some frustration from Vitchian too. I mean, he's had chances tonight. Cal's done a good job against him.
It was a tight window there, but it was a window, which I think
sometimes a tight window doesn't give you a green light to go. If that makes sense.
Yep. But I think he's wanted to go all night and hasn't really gotten an opportunity to.
That's probably one where, hindsight being 20/20, of course, play it back out, try to build the attack a little more. Now we say that 2 minutes from now, you could have that same window and drive one past Brockian, and what do I know? Not a lot.
He is that kind of talent,
certainly,
right? You just want it to. If you're North Carolina, you want it to be at his feet in a big moment with a chance. Check pokes it away. Now he's got to get back to his spot. Knighton loses Acosta. Across, low, right back to him, does it again, and it's out of bounds. And a goal kick for the Golden Bears.
Well, that was close there on the touchline there, the end line. Both teams making their claim that it should have been either a goal kick or a corner kick. We'll get a stoppage here.
A handful of Cal players demanding explanation. I think maybe in the scramble here, they would have wanted a penalty of sorts.
I think they were asking for a handball maybe off the arm there. But nonetheless, the corner kick coming for Cal. And we talked about taking advantage of these opportunities, Darren. Not sure how many more you're going to get in the final 11+ minutes.
Bracken Serra sends in the service. Adimebois can't get his head on it. And again, it's out of bounds this time. Everybody's staying, so maybe deflected. This might be another corner for Cal, just from the opposite end. And how about this substitution for Cal? Eric Duncan is back on. So now Adimebois and Duncan in with a corner kick coming for Cal. Both 6'4", both big-time targets in this situation.
But tend to tell you Cal is going to try to throw something at least on frame and try to give one of those guys a touch to break the stalemate.
Alfredo Ortiz on the service. Punched up into the air. Cortez comes away with it.
Good play by Cortez there, not just to come away with it, but then to clear action around him. A lot of traffic around the North Carolina keeper. Did a great job coming off of his line, playing that one nicely, and then not letting there be any further play.
All clock. Room to operate. And into the back of the net! Ahmad El-Quack gives North Carolina the lead. A remarkable strike that took the leading saves goalkeeper in the ACC by surprise, no doubt.
Told you earlier, El-Quack was going to be a big factor in this one for North Carolina. A beautiful strike from distance, and nothing that Brocker could do with this one. A laser beam to the upper left corner, and it's North Carolina with back-to-back goals, and the Tar Heels at home have the lead late in this ACC contest. It's the second of the year for El-Quack, both coming in crucial moments in ACC games. He scored one in that 2-0 win over North Carolina State earlier this year off the bench. Another one off the bench for El-Quack tonight to give the Tar Heels the lead. And now if you're Cal, Darren, the situation you do not want to be in. 10.5 minutes left. You've not shown the ability to score multiple goals in a contest, and now the Bears are going to have to really press, which opens them up to perhaps the counterattack. This is exactly where North Carolina wants to be. 10 minutes to go and a chance to hold serve at home to pick up their third ACC victory.
What a turnaround. Goals in the 67th and 80th minutes to take the lead for North Carolina as Cortez goes up and gets it away from Eric Duncan land, which is exactly where Cal wants it to be. You just alluded to it, Chris. With every goal, the game changes a little bit. Cal in a situation where a bit of desperation is okay, right? You want to get a point if you can. As it goes in the ACC standings, is there really a difference between a 2-1 loss, or maybe you get too aggressive, give up a counter goal, and it's a 3-1 loss?
It does not matter. A loss is a loss. It counts the same, right? If you're Cal, 9 minutes to go, still time, but you've got to show a little more urgency here, Darren. Certainly opened yourself up to that counter attack. That was a good ball in, but maybe you telegraphed a bit too much. We'll see if Moda changes his mind, and he does. Cal trying to build from the back here. See if Carmichael can engineer it for the Bears.
Usman has it ripped away. Alquaka tapped forward. Daniel Lugo back. Alquak, one touch. North Carolina fine with possessing here.
North Carolina will do that for the final 8 minutes of this match if they could. We'll see if Cal steps up to become a little more aggressive, trying to take away some of these angles for North Carolina.
Clinical passing for the Tar Heels. You know, it's interesting. Prior to this moment in the match, Cal has made this kind of passing difficult with its pressure. It seems like maybe they've come back a little bit.
I would agree with that. They're trying to sag back a little bit here, almost as if they don't want to give up an opportunity in that finishing third. But I think if you're Cal, 7.5 minutes to go, Darren, you've got to press a little bit more. I mean, you've got to at least give yourself a chance to get this equalizer.
Rackensara finally applied pressure to force a pass there near mid-pitch.
And you look at the 2 goals that North Carolina has scored tonight, both on brilliant strikes from distance. I think that speaks to how tough Cal has made things for North Carolina in that final third.
Ortiz over for Mota. Ball in, Duncan, one touch into the air, hits the ground in the box. Cordes comes away with it for North Carolina.
Boy, that was close there in the box. A lot of contact. Duncan obviously wanted the call, did not get it. A great ball in, and Duncan just unable to handle it enough, and maybe a little bit of contact there. We'll see here. Mota again with a good service. Duncan with the initial touch, and I don't know. I think that's a good play there by Thomas, making a play. I don't know that you can make the case that Duncan had possession there, Darren, after that first touch. 50-50 ball in my eyes, that both guys had a right to it. I think that's a good no call by the officials.
It was a touch that initially was going to, it looked as if it was going to favor Duncan.
Sure.
That doesn't necessarily mean control or that he had a handle on it. Now a yellow card is issued.
I think Ortiz is continuing to be frustrated there. He was issued the yellow. Ortiz just continuing to stake his claim, thinking that that should have been a foul.
And
if nothing else there, if you believe that that was going to favor Ortiz, sure, just call the advantage, play advantage there if you're the official.
Yep, exactly.
Play advantage, and it's a moot point.
Yep. Ritchie in the header and hits the ground.
Offside flag goes up as well.
This redirects it. How quickly to the other end of the field. Ortiz. And another foul. So Cal somehow, some way pushing it forward.
I would still watch for Duncan here, Darren.
Yeah, they're putting Ortiz on these set pieces. That's who's issued the majority of their corner kicks as well. There it is in. Adimabwa making a run, puts it right into Cordez's chest with the header.
Another good save by Cordez. Acknowledging his defense. There was a good ball there. And another chance for Cal. Best on best here. Good service in. Great flick on, but maybe too much on target there. And an easy play for Cordez. 4 saves for Cordez tonight. He's been very good for North Carolina.
Duncan having a tough time for Cal. North Carolina's defense has just held form, particularly in this late going since they tied it at 1 in the 67th minute.
Hey, give North Carolina a lot of credit too, Darren. Yeah, a veteran team playing at home, down 1-0, finds a way to tie it up, and then we saw North Carolina with some frustration setting in. And then the Tar Heels found a way to make some plays. And boy, how good has Cordez been here for North Carolina down the stretch. The keeper limiting the opportunities for the Bears. And probably not many more chances for Cal with just over 3 minutes remaining.
Here's Batil Hansen, active again after being out with injury. Sets up a corner for North Carolina. Amado Kwok.
And no real sense of urgency here for North Carolina. No reason to have it.
Yeah.
And a smart play there by North Carolina as well. Goes short on the corner. Try to chew up a little more time. Clock is your ally, and now if you're Cal, you have to have a big sense of urgency here.
Yeah, even to set up the goal kick. And if you're going to do it quickly, probably smarter to play it short to Moda as they did. Adimabwa with the handball. Sends it back North Carolina's way. You didn't need that. And a yellow card. Another comes out. That's the 3rd issued against a Cal player this time. Kieran Bracken-Sarah draws it. Berkeley, California native.
All 3 cards this half against Cal as well. You can see that the frustration really setting in for the Bears, and probably one they feel like, Darren, with 2 minutes left, one that slipped away from Cal, frankly, tonight.
I mean, we talked the entire first half plus about that first goal.
Yep.
How big it was going to be for whichever team came away with it. It was Cal. And even at that point, right before the goal, which was 7 minutes later off of the game clock for North Carolina, in those 7 minutes, we sensed some frustration for the Tar Heels. They overcame that, tied it up, and then took the lead as Rocker comes out to prevent an attempt for Vichian. Just an incredible showing by the number 3 team in the country, North Carolina.
Yeah,
resilient, headstrong.
And I think it started with Carolina's defense again tonight, too. They got the goal to tie it. The frustration was setting in. And then Cordez kind of stabilized things. When Cal had a couple of opportunities, Carolina got the advantage and a couple of brilliant strikes. And now Cal certainly will have to have An incredible sense of urgency.
Really well played by Andrew Czech to get it away from Nanso Adimebois. Batil Hansen has it checked right back to him by Carmichael. Thought maybe there would be a run at the goal there, but Carmichael and Hansen get tangled up. "25 seconds to play." Big ball in. Knighton tried to poke it up to Adimebois. More fortuitous touch, and maybe that would have been dramatic in our last 10 seconds, but the clock hits 0, and North Carolina avoids a scare and remains undefeated. Consecutive goals in the 67th and 80th minutes. But as you mentioned earlier, Chris, it required remarkable solo efforts, strikes from distance for both of those goals for the Tar Heels to get a victory over a scrappy Golden Bears crew, still in search of ACC